Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for the start of a gaming announcement filled weekend because it is that time of year, summer 2024, early June, and we are in the midst of another non E3 gaming announcement time because they announced that E3 officially, at least in its current form, is no more. I don't know if it'll be resurrected somehow in some fashion in the future, but for now, we have lots of other events already happening, already happened, that are going to happen over the next weekend or so. And that's what we're going to do in some of the recent or the some of this video and also probably a few upcoming videos. So in this video, we are going to watch the Accessibility Showcase, this Accessibility Summer Gaming Showcase, put on by Laura Kate Dale. Shout out to her. That's awesome. Her and her team for getting that together. I honestly have no idea what to expect for this one, and this is the one I'm like most excited for because of course these are games that are going to be focusing on blind access or on overall accessibility. But what she did say on Twitter earlier was that there are, I think what she said, like 50% of the games are going to be playable for people with no usable vision. So, you know what? That's a good, healthy start. And I have no idea what these games are going to be. I don't know if they're all going to be indie games. I don't know if they're going to sneak some AAA announcements in there. I genuinely have no idea, but I'm very eager to find out. And that's what we are going to, even though I'm not streaming this right now, I am watching it live. I'm going to just sort of record my thoughts as if I was streaming. But I also want to talk about some of the other recent events that have happened already. Last week we had the Sony State of Play. And then yesterday we had, God, what was it? There was like an indie showcase. There were at least two of them, I think, yesterday. Um, I didn't watch any of those because yesterday was a super busy day at work. So I didn't even have time to think about watching that kind of stuff. Um, but I did see a couple trailers that looked pretty neat. And yeah, so we're just kind of killing a little bit of time here. We got about 20 minutes before the start of the Accessibility Showcase. And again, this is really cool. We're starting to see more of a trend of more of these showcases, state of plays, whatever. More of them are starting to have audio description, sign language, captions, all those nice accessibility things that are very helpful to us. The Summer Game Fest this evening is also going to have an audio described version. I have tweeted out that I have reposted that, so you can check my Twitter feed for that. Twitter at BGFH79 on Twitter. That is going to have audio description. The Ubisoft thing is going to have audio description. I think that's on Monday. The Microsoft events, they said they are going to have audio description. So three events are going to have audio described versions, which is great because they flash those titles by so fast that, yeah, it's sometimes hard to read, or it's hard to read the release date or something. So very much looking forward to that. I guess tonight after the Summer Game Fest, there's going to be, I think, like an indie showcase, and then I think I heard just now that they're having another Devolver Digital event. Those are usually short, but those are extremely messed up, and I'm always curious to see because they usually have some pretty cool games, and I've talked about them the past several years. The Devolver Digital showcases are fucking weird, man. They are just flat out bananas. I love the year when they had the RoboCop parody. That was really stupid. I didn't even remember what they did last year. I love their virtual E3 game that they did. I think that was in like 2020, like around the pandemic, where they had like the empty LA Convention Center. And that was a cool. So they've done some really unique things over there with their presentations. But let's talk a little bit about Sony. Um, I thought about doing a video for them, but I'm like, I'll lump them into another video because some of what they showed was cool. Um, I can't even remember the name of it now. They started out with this. Oh, what the heck was the name of it? But it's like a, was it a 4 versus 4 team-based shooter, which I was kind of disappointed in. It's kind of got like an Overwatch sort of a deal. I mean, I have no problem with the art style, but they showed this little like story video clip, kind of what they used to do with Team Fortress 2, where you have these, really cartoony characters, and they set up little animated shorts to kind of give you more story, more um, more background for the characters. And they're kind of doing the same thing, it looks like, for this game. And I can't even remember the name of it now. I mean, hopefully it'll jump into my head. But they showed this, this story, these story cutscenes, and it had this sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy vibe going on. I'm like, oh, this would be a good solo adventure or maybe a co-op adventure, action game. Again, like the Guardians of the Galaxy game, something like that, like a Mass Effect style game. So I was kind of into it at first, and then it was like, oh, by the way, this is a team-based first-person shooter. Now, I love first-person shooters, but I'm not into the team-based focus, like objective focus type of thing. The hero shooters. So I mean, it could be good, but I'm just gonna have to wait and see. But like, I was really sort of hoping for like a really cool Guardians of the Galaxy style, like either third or first-person action game. That I think that would have been really cool. And I think I've heard a few people echo a similar sentiment. So they had that. There were a lot of kind of your first and third person, games that had kind of a more darker, realistic kind of setting. They kind of blended together. There were a few that sounded pretty cool. So I will keep an eye out on them. Um, but nothing too much, super stood out. I mean, there were games that I will be like, oh, when they come out, I will check them out, or I will see how they do, and I might give them a shot. Not quite sure what is coming to PC, but I know Sony had recently also announced that their multiplayer titles are typically going to start coming out on PC and PlayStation at the same time, but their single player content, their big tentpole, God of Wars, Last of Us, those types of games, Spider-Man, those are going to be console exclusive at first. So you're going to have that probably considerable delay before you get the PC port. So they're trying to, it's like, oh, well, you can play the older one and maybe it'll get you excited enough to buy a PlayStation to play the new game. Or you just have to be patient and wait for the PC port. I also saw on Twitter about 2 days ago, I think it was, that apparently Naughty Dog has had the PC port of The Last of Us Part 2 done for several months, and they're just kind of sitting on it for some reason. Um, I hope I'm sure it's going to come out for PC. It almost has to because the first one did. I'm hoping they just announce it sometime this weekend or something. Because again, for people who don't have a PlayStation but have a computer and they want to play the accessible version, they have part 1 and now they will be able to play part 2. If in fact, I even said this on Twitter, I said, if that game is coming to PC and they claim that it's already done, I sure as hell hope that it's optimized better than the first game was at launch, because I played it and it worked, but even I had a few bugs here and there. But it was not optimized. I mean, it was cranking pretty hard on the CPU and GPU there for a while. I think they ironed it out as time went on, but If they claim that it's done, I hope that they also took into consideration better optimization this time, so it's a smoother launch. But I'm guessing we'll get that at some point. I hope they're not just holding it for whenever season 2 of the show appears, because I think that's not coming out until 2025 at the earliest. So I have to imagine if they have it done, it's got to come out sooner than that. I would, to put something out for this year. But the one thing that was really interesting, the one thing that was very cool about the Sony presentation, and we're going to watch the trailer here. Astrobot. I covered the Astro's Playroom game that came with the PlayStation 5, and it's incredible. The way they used the PlayStation controller, it was just a fun platformer. It was an homage to Sony's history, PlayStation's history, and it was just a fun game to play. But the way it used the DualSense controller, some other games have sort of done it to a degree, but nothing that I've played has come close to not only how you used it mechanically, but just the haptic feedback that they did. But this is a full-on, like they said, at least 4 times the length of the Astro's Playroom. It's a lot bigger. But let's watch the trailer and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Almost looks like a Star Fox type thing. They're using a controller deal. God, this looks good. It's so colorful compared to anything else that Sony's doing. Like everything else is all dark and gritty. Look at this. This just looks joyous. A lot of platforming. There's some bosses. Got some big enemies there. Wow. I wonder what kind of accessibility this is going to have. Since it's a first party, I hope that they do include accessibility features. Because this game looks fantastic. The old flying PlayStation 5s. Look, it looks like there's tons of different variety in the gameplay mechanics. You got like platforming, bosses, time things. You've got, look at that, the huge boss. You have the Star Fox kind of flying sequences apparently. Yeah, look at this. This is nuts. Lava environment. Snow. Yeah. This is going to be great. Astrobot. Not gonna lie, that's real good. September 6th. I am so there. That's real good. That's real good. So that's the main trailer that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to show you guys from the State of Play. Like I said, there are other games that I'm interested in that look pretty decent, but Astrobot is by far the winner of that show. They say, they had the cameos in Astro's Playroom. Like you'd see these little robots in the corner, and they would represent different Sony franchises. Anything from like God of War to I think they had like Jak and Daxter and a whole bunch of other ones. But like, I guess they're going to factor into the game more to some degree, and I don't really know how, but. Yeah, this is exactly, I think, what Sony needs. Of course, Nintendo has Mario. Xbox, I don't know what their family-friendly mascot would be these days. Master Chief was for a while, more M-rated. Of course, Halo was their thing, and then Gears was their thing. But as far as like a family friendly, I don't know what Microsoft would call their mascot these days. But Sony, they had their Crash Bandicoot for a while, and they had all their PS2 era platformers. Again, your Jack and Daxter, your Sly Cooper. They should really bring some of those back, and even like the shooters, they should bring back Resistance and oh, what was the other one? There was the Resistance series, and there was another shooter, Killzone series. They could remaster those and put those out on PS5. Um, but I mean, Astrobot is like, again, it's kind of this big love letter to Sony, to the PlayStation thing. And if they flesh this out into an even more full-featured, longer game than Astro's Playroom was, they started out with the VR game, which I've never played because I don't own a Sony VR headset. But that could be good. That could be really good. Um, I'm genuinely curious. I would love to get a review code for that. But regardless, I will try to cover it on the channel when it comes out if I can get my PS5 to stream to my computer again. But yeah, Astrobot looks great. The main trailer that caught my attention yesterday, and apparently I just learned that it's an MMO, which I don't know about, but it still looks cool. There's a game called Reckless, which immediately made me think of there was an original Xbox game called Reckless, and that was a kind of a racing driving game. I remember my friend in college had bought the Xbox and he picked up a copy of Reckless and Halo. And I remember hooking the Xbox up to the projector in college, and we looked at Halo and we looked at Reckless and things like that. And I remember it had the DeLorean in it. So I was like, what? Is this like another racing game? No, it's actually like a skateboarding game, and it kind of, I don't know what the controls are like, but it kind of looks like, pretty arcadey, and it kind of had this like Tony Hawk-esque vibe to it, but it had this really kind of like animated art style to it. And you can build your own skate parks, and you can race, or you can, I guess, suppose do different types of races or events or competitions or whatever. It being an MMO and all. Um, but the art style and just kind of the overall like look and feel of the game, it looked arcadey, it looked fast. It's something I would like to learn more about. I mean, I kind of wish that it was just like a regular single player multiplayer, Tony Hawk style game. I still have fond memories playing the graffiti mode on the projector in college. Those were fun. That was really fun. Um, but yeah, that was one of the main ones. I did see a little more footage. I don't think we have a launch date yet. Um, Fallen Aces, man. Like, I'm playing through Sulaco right now. And boy, this month has been a great month for boomer shooters. We had Mullet Mad Jack, which is, I'm almost to the end, I think, but man, the level, the floor seven, the 70s floors are killing me. They're brutal right now. I think that's the final 10, and then there's some bosses after that, or there's a boss after that. But Mullet Mad Jack, we've got Sulaco. Um, I am getting lost in Sulaco from time to time, especially in level 2, in their stupid water treatment plant area. But I don't know what kind of wizardry they're doing with that game because it's being made in GZ Doom. But the more I play it, like the attention to detail, environmental interaction, the sound design, the audio design is just ridiculously good. It's better than a lot of AAA games. The amount of detail that their audio has. And it being GZ Doom, I really can't help but wonder, like, if Toby Doom mod could be plugged into that somehow. The only problem is the levels are, I don't know how you would account for or how you would make the Toby mod inform you that there are like vents that you can jump and climb up into, because that's not really something that Doom had per se. There are times where you have to like there's a part early on where you had to stack some barrels and then be able to use those to jump up on top of a ledge to get at some higher part of the area. So I don't know how you get around that part, but man, with the if you could marry the audio design with the blind accessibility features of the Toby mod, damn man, Sulaco's just cool. But back to Fallen Aces, there's another couple minutes of footage, and I think after Sulaco now that's out, I would say Fallen Aces is probably one of, if not my most anticipated retro slash boomer shooters coming up. And I know it's not coming out in full, but he's hoping for early access when it comes out. Probably like an episode 1, and I am all about that because the art style, the gameplay, I've streamed it once or twice. I think I covered the demo. I've covered it at least once or twice on my channel. It's got this really, it's like a film noir type of thing, but it's got this really like cel shaded look to it, comic book style. It is just sharp. And it's almost like an immersive sim because you can go in guns blazing, you can sneak around, you can use melee weapons, guns, throw stuff at them. You got the voice acting is really good. Yeah, Fallen Aces. They had that in one of the things yesterday, and a shout out to Zlim Bratsky too. He's doing his FPS Summer Showcase tomorrow, and I thought about covering that one, but I think he said that's going to be like 2.5 hours long. So I don't think I'm going to watch it for sure, but I don't think I'm going to record, a reaction to it. But this one for sure, the Accessibility Showcase here, I had to record this one because this ties directly into my channel. It ties directly into what we want. We want our accessibility. And we are literally about 2 minutes away in theory. So we are going to close the chat because I don't care about that right now. I wonder if I have to reload the page or if it'll just queue up. But we will watch it. We will listen to it. And then I will give some final thoughts. And then I think what will happen is, like I said, I will watch the Summer Games Showcase tonight. I will watch Zim's event tomorrow. And I know there are, like I said, there's other things happening tonight. There's a couple more events tomorrow. Then I believe it's Sunday. We have Microsoft's Xbox event, which I'm really curious about, because Microsoft is kind of in a rough patch right now, man. I mean, Game Pass is cool and all, but like some shit's gone down with them lately. We've, all the layoffs, and then people are mad at stuff going to other platforms, and they've just some of those studio closures are just still don't sit well with me. But I'm very curious to see if and how they can dig out of their current hole and what they're going to announce. Like I said, we've got WWDC on Monday with all their AI announcements. I'm going to be watching that. So I don't know if I'll do 1 or 2 more videos, because I'll definitely want to talk about what I saw at WWDC. I will definitely want to talk about the Summer Games Fest. I will definitely want to talk about the Microsoft event, possibly the Ubisoft event. Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost live. So we got our world premiere coming up. This is just, I think it's a YouTube countdown. So, yeah, Accessibility Showcase. This is the audio described version. So with the audio description, it'll probably be a little harder for me to talk all the time, but I'll try not to talk over things too much. And I will leave a link in the description if you want to watch the version of it from Laura herself, her channel. So if you don't want to hear me blabbing, I will leave a link in the description for this video if you want to watch it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Here we go.
A pair of red curtains pull back to reveal the AccessAbility logo. A stick figure is in a circle, with ends trailing as cables to a standard game controller and a hub-style accessible controller.
Hello, and welcome to this year's AccessAbility Summer Showcase 2024. I'm your host, Laura. I'm a white woman with bright blue hair, shaved on one side, wearing a plain black dress. I'll keep this introduction brief, as I know you're here to find out about cool upcoming accessible video games. The AccessAbility Summer Showcase aims to be a place for disabled gamers to find out about cool upcoming and recently released video games, while knowing upfront if they're likely to be accessible for them upon release.
Yay.
While not every single video game showcase today is going to be accessible for every single disabled gamer, the aim of the showcase is that, wherever possible, there will be at least a couple of interesting games shown today that are going to be playable for you, no matter who you are. If you'd benefit from audio description or sign language interpreter support, there are American Sign Language, British Sign Language, and audio-described versions of the showcase available on youtube.com/Laura K. Buzz. If you'd like to find most of this year's showcase titles in a single place, we have a Steam sale page this year.
Oh, nice.
You can find it at the link on screen now. There you'll find this year's showcase titles to wishlist or purchase, alongside last year's showcase titles and a handful of demos. This year's showcase doesn't have a sponsor, so if you'd like to support the AccessAbility Summer Showcase, please consider supporting AccessAbility at patreon.com/Laura K. Buzz. Your support helps the Summer Showcase to exist, alongside accessibility reviews and the Control-Alt-Access podcast. Now, without any further introduction,
I did subscribe
let's jump
to that
into the
recently.
games.
The AccessAbility Summer Showcase logo appears, accompanied by a sound effect as a transition between trailers.
Okay. Okay, what do we get?
This is Elsie, the upcoming retro-inspired bullet hell action platforming roguelike shooter from Night Shift Games and Platonic Friends.
That's a mouthful.
A blue-haired woman jumps and dashes in an apocalyptic environment. She is
This
seen
looks
fighting enemies,
graphically
including a bipedal mechanized walrus general with a rectangular warhammer.
And kind of hard
Elsie
to see,
isn't just
actually.
packed with hyphenated genre tags and Technicolor action, however. The Night Shift team have been hard at work to provide a host of accessibility features to make Elsie as accessible as possible to anyone who wants to play.
Okay.
If you just want to absorb the gorgeous style and play through the story, there's an invincibility mode, which might also come in handy if you're struggling against a particularly tricky boss fight. And to help you focus on the hyperkinetic on-screen action, there are modifiers to allow you to blur, desaturate, or even turn off the backgrounds entirely.
Oh, nice.
There are also options for adjusting the amount of screen shake you experience to help with this even further.
I can dim and
Elsie is an
desaturate
incredibly
backgrounds.
colourful game, so it has options to assist those with colour vision deficiency too.
Look at the text.
Options
it's
for
big
player
text
outline
too.
and enemy outline also allow you to adjust the hue to your liking to make sure the Technicolor action is as visible as possible.
Nice.
Elsie is seen fighting flying robot enemies as she slides down a wall. She then fights a mechanical insect by dashing to dodge a tracking missile.
Well, I'm wishlisting this.
If you need assistance with reflex mechanics, there will also be an option to adjust the timing required to correctly hit a parry, as well as following up with those all-important counterattacks. So to recap, there's an invincibility mode, parry and counterattack timing adjustments, font size modifier, colorblind assistance, player and enemy outline options, rumble strength and screen shake modifiers, and options to blur, desaturate, or remove backgrounds.
Oh, that's great.
Elsie is a love letter to retro action platformers of old, while packing in plenty of new elements to give the genre a modern twist. And we want as many people as possible to be able to enjoy the experience.
I wouldn't
Please
call this a blind
wishlisting the game on
accessible
Steam
game
today if you like what you see, and stay tuned to the Night Shift and Platonic socials for more info soon.
Low vision, I was afraid at first because there is a lot visually going
Elsie,
on.
gun raised. Text reads, Elsie, wishlist now. Night Shift Games,
Indeed
Steam,
I will.
Platonic Friends. Ria is an Indian woman with black hair wearing a dark blue shirt and black eyeliner. She is sitting in her home studio with books, art frames and a TV in the background.
Hi everyone, I'm Ria. I am part of a two-person indie game studio based out of India called I Miss My Friends Studio. We're working on our first title, Fishbowl.
Illustrated key art for Fishbowl shows a woman with short purple hair looking lovingly into a glass fishbowl containing a goldfish with a wind-up mechanism on its back.
Fishbowl is a slice of life coming-of-age story told over a month. There are no forced day-night cycles in Fishbowl, and you can take all the time you need to explore Arlo's house.
Arlo is seen from a top-down perspective, shown in her apartment are a work desk, bedroom and bathroom.
You video call loved ones and have branching conversations with them in a clear sans serif font. You work from home as a junior video editor. Here you match snippets to the correct track as per color or icon. This game has no fail state, and no matter how you do, your colleagues will cheer you on and support you.
Arlo and her boss are shown in small video chat windows. In the background, a colourful video editing interface is shown.
You sort through puzzles to rediscover childhood memories. No time limits or penalties here. Take your time to go through all the sentimental objects Arlo has received, whether it's through keyboard, mouse, or the controller.
Pages of a journal show a frock knitted for 2-year-old Arlo and a batch of mango pickle.
Do care tasks and get to know yourself better one day at a time. Currently, Fishbowl has few options to change the volume of sound effects and music, and also an option to turn off screen shake.
I don't know that I would play this one without
both visual and audio cues for important events. Take your time to notice them, as there is no rush to respond.
Arlo is in a surreal dream world. Someone is knocking at her door.
Our demo starts off with a content warning as it addresses and explores themes of grief, loss, loneliness, and isolation. We are a small team and we have a lot more to do before release. We're working on accessibility-specific settings like removing screen sway, turning off text effects and typing, providing a larger font size, an option to slow down video editing, and adding a way to skip the puzzles. We have a long way to go and we will try to do our best. We hope you will come along. Thank you.
Yeah, with the amount of text in that game, I don't know that I would be into it
is an exciting third-person adventure game developed by Zero Games. Immerse yourself in the role of Waco, a mysterious gecko embarking on a quest to collect the most powerful mask of his world. Explore diverse landscape, from vibrant villages to dark forests.
Platformer,
Each environment is carefully crafted to immerse players in a rich sensory experience, with ambient sounds everywhere, like bird songs, flowing water, and echoing footsteps on every surfaces, guiding your exploration.
Definitely a unique art style.
Our maps are thoughtfully designed to ensure clear auditory cues, allowing players to navigate with ease and fully immerse themselves in the world of Waco. Dive into a world full of quests and puzzles, from helping villagers to unraveling ancient mysteries. Our intuitive inventory systems make managing items a breeze, with color-coded references and clear icons, ensuring accessibilities for all players. And with the ability to customize sounds in the main menu, players can tailor the game to their preferences. Prepare for epic battles as you meet formidable enemies throughout your journey. Each mask grants unique abilities, empowering players to adapt their fighting styles and overcome challenges.
Almost looks like a Wind Waker
And with distinct
combat.
sounds for every enemy, player can rely on auditory cues to anticipate and react to threats, making the game accessible to all. We are committed to making gaming inclusive for everyone. That's why we are doing our best to develop a colorblind-friendly game with carefully chosen color palette that ensure clarity and accessibility for all players. We invite you to embark on a memorable adventure where exploration, puzzles, and epic battles await. Join us and uncover the secrets of the whimsical world of Waco the Mask Gatherer.
So they'd mentioned things about for blind players, but I don't know if they'll have like navigation assist.
My name is Chad Michael Boughton. My pronouns are he, him.
Hey, dude.
I am a
was on your
blind podcast host, accessibility consultant, professional speaker, and this is why accessibility in gaming is important to me. I will always remember how back in 2019, when Kingdom Hearts 3 had just released, how excited I was to play the game. I had been a longtime fan of the series and was finally ready to experience the end of the trilogy. However, At this point in time, I was unaware of how bad my retinitis pigmentosa had gotten and just how much of my usable vision I really had lost. I can remember not only not being able to get through the first world, but just not knowing where I needed to go or what I needed to do to progress throughout the game. I will never forget how upset I was and how I ended up calling my mother and father, crying to them on the phone, and just telling them, hey, I think I have to give up on gaming. I think that because of my blindness, I can no longer keep gaming. And it was a pretty big thing for me because growing up, video games had been the best way for me to cope with losing my vision and just not being able to control what was going on in my life. I had all intentions to never play a video game again, and for the next 2 years, I kept true to that promise. I thought that I would go the rest of my life without playing another video game. But, you know, in 2021, my brother-in-law, he sent me a text telling me about a game called The Last of Us Part 2 and how I should check it out, which I thought was crazy because I remember being able to play the game, the first game that is, back when I had usable vision. And I was just thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to play the sequel due to my limited amount of vision. And boy, was I wrong. I could have not been any more wrong. And it was a welcome surprise for myself to boot up the game and realize that my vision wasn't the problem. It was that up until this point, games really just weren't being made to accommodate gamers like myself and so many others.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for the work that Brandon Cole and Naughty Dog did on The Last of Us Part 2, I don't think I would ever have gotten back into gaming. And I can only imagine where my life would be right now if I didn't get back into gaming. I owe accessibility in gaming so much.
Very cool. I can totally...
Hello,
if
my
I
name
lost
is
the
Stefan
vision
Gagné.
that I
My
did...
pronouns are he, him, and I'm a physically disabled gamer. I run Fiction Factory Games, and we make character-driven narrative games such as Arcade Spirits the New Challengers, Penny Larceny, Gig Economy Supervillain, and our upcoming title, The Shadow Over Cyberspace. Today, I'd like to demonstrate some of the accessibility technology that we've built into our games.
Okay.
I'll use our latest game, Penny Larceny, to demonstrate. In this comic book romantic comedy, you play as a criminal underling named Penny, working for various supervillains to help put food on the table.
That sounds kind of fun.
All of our games feature a self-voicing mode. Just tap the V key at any time to activate.
Self-voicing enabled.
Ooh, I
In
did
this
not know
mode,
about
extra
these
narration is used to describe imagery, and user interfaces are streamlined. Let's demonstrate with this scene where Penny, the woman in the black and white striped shirt and mask, is going out on a date with Farsight, the superheroine in the colorful but practical costume.
I'll have to play
Farsight,
these.
I'm so glad we're finally able to talk outside of our day jobs. It's nice to get away from all that mask and cape stuff. Penny, absolutely. What's a good first date question?
Hopefully you can speed that up.
The beeping sound lets players know that it's time to make a choice. Alright, let's see, what do we pick here?
What are her hobbies? Sewing, stamp collecting, virtual pet raising?
Oh, more games I gotta
play.
play.
Horse-sized duck, or 100 duck-sized horses? Penny, I'd like to ask you an important question one scholars and philosophers have wrestled with for generations. Penny, 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Which do you fight? Farsight, oh, horse-sized duck. I actually fought him last week.
For sighted players, we have options to help customize the user interface to their needs. You can adjust fonts used by the game, picking between comic book style, a simplified font for easier readability, and the standard open dyslexia font. These changes carry through to user interfaces, dialog boxes, and more. Dialogue is colored to match the speaking character, or can be set to monochrome. You can also invert the text box to white. Lastly, I'd like to give a little sneak peek into our next game, The Shadow Over Cyberspace, in which the Cthulhu mythos is retold through the apocalyptic lens of the Y2K crisis and 90s internet culture. In this game, we make use of video and screen filters to create retro computer effects. Seen here is an example of that, with an angry woman drawn in pixel art on a laptop screen, with a looping video of fire behind her, and an LCD filter on top.
Nyarlathotep, speak your piece or go in pieces. Who are you, and what convinced you that approaching the crawling chaos was a good life decision?
For players with photosensitivity, we've added the ability to disable these effects. You get the same visuals, but they're a static picture and easier on the eyes.
These games
the
are
game also
typically a
makes
type
use of
I
video
don't
during
play.
sequences where you watch television.
Because
we
they're
use
so
open
text-heavy.
captioning to ensure everyone can enjoy this part of the game,
Okay.
and when using self-voicing mode, additional visual narration is added.
Oh, cool.
Static gives way to the TV23 logo.
I'm so playing this.
WYGH-TV, Arkham, Innsmouth, Dunwich. A TV test pattern plays through static.
Here is a world of communication, tailored for your needs of today and tomorrow, bringing together all people in a new era of understanding.
Very nice.
Two teenagers visit a 1950s World's Fair exhibit on
Yeah, that is definitely some
telecommunications.
old 50s stuff going on.
Moving forward, I'm hoping to ensure all our stories are as accessible as we can make them. Gaming should be for everyone.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for your time, and have a good one.
I will definitely play that game, and I will have
I'm
to find
Lucy
out if the
Blundell,
other
the
one,
indie
the
developer
other
behind
arcade ones are
Videoverse,
the same.
which is a narrative adventure game focusing on character development, friendship, and love in the old school internet. As a disabled developer, I wanted to include positive disability representation in the story, but the game itself has many accessibility features that I'd like to share with you today.
Some bright backgrounds
Videoverse can be
there.
controlled using mouse, keyboard, touchscreen, or controller.
Okay.
There are no button combos, no quick responses required, no
Okay.
strobe effects, and the game is generally low pressure.
A lot of text again.
Navigation is also large and clear, with audio cues upon selection. Videoverse is made in RenPy, the visual novel engine, which already includes several accessibility features.
Oh, really?
There's self-voicing and separate volume bars for sound,
Ooh.
music, and voice. The default
I didn't
font
know
can
that.
be switched for a clear, easy-to-read font, and all fonts are large
Self-voicing
and
mode
high
in that
contrast.
engine?
If you miss a thought or conversation, you can check the log to see what you may have missed. And when it comes time to saving, you can manually save at any point or use the autosave feature. Though there are some additional features too. There is a typing noise during chat conversations, which can be turned off in the preferences menu.
Okay.
Closed captions are also available, but audio is not required to play Videoverse.
Definitely a
and since Videoverse
unique
covers
looking
heavy
game.
topics such as depression, abuse, and neglect, there is also a content warning list that can be accessed. The default Videoverse theme is black and white, clear and high contrast. But there are many different colour themes, some of which are colourblind friendly,
Oh, wow.
and these can be changed at any time.
There's some
And on
gnarly
the
color
pause menu,
combinations there.
There is a tip button in the top left corner. Use this to get a hint if you ever feel stuck. If there's a feature missing that you'd like to see, please send me an email at contact@gamesbykimoku.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the old school experience of Videoverse.
That's really kind of cool, because I didn't know that engine
Hello
had
everyone,
self-voicing.
I am Sightless Combat. First off, thank you so much to the organisers for inviting me back here. It's amazing to be a part of this event once again. Just by way of a self-description, I'm wearing an RNIB Design for Every Gamer shirt and a cap with my logo on it, which is two swords crossed over an eye, as well as over-ear headphones. And in the background behind me, you can see numerous items of gaming memorabilia, including what has lovingly been termed as a pop waffle, a display holding various pop vinyl figures from various franchises that I've accumulated,
I just don't
as
like
well as
Funkos,
a
man.
gold Lancer from Gears of War 4,
I
the
love
replica of
figures,
that
but
iconic
I
weapon.
don't like Funkos.
So, for those who don't know me, I am an award-winning, multi-credited accessibility consultant and content
yeah.
creator from the UK, as well as being the Accessible Gaming Officer for RNIB, that is Royal National Institute of Blind People, the UK-based sight loss charity. And crucially, I am a gamer without sight, having never had any sight whatsoever. Now, I'm here to talk about, once again, a genre that some might question how you would even make accessible for anyone with no vision to work with.
Okay.
And one that, from what I've heard, a fair number of people are interested in. City builders. Enter Cellular City, a puzzle game about building, well, tiny cities. When I first heard about this game, it sounded really intriguing to me, not just because of the wonderfully alliterative name, and the developer is keen to make this as accessible as possible. So I would highly recommend giving this a look if you're even remotely interested in something new and, in my case, relatively unfamiliar. But I'm not going to try and spoil any of this, because here is a little trailer to show you just what this game is all about, as well as, of course, its accessibility features.
Some of these games can be very overwhelming even with low vision. So I am quite intrigued about what this could be.
This is Cellular City, a puzzle game about building tiny cities. Cellular City's primary mechanic is rules around neighbouring buildings. For example, you can't have a steel foundry next to a block of flats.
A3 is a flats. B3 is empty. B2 is empty. Foundry placed in B2.
On the other hand,
looks like a 3x3
some buildings
grid.
like each other, like stations and flats.
C2 is a station. B2 is empty. Flats placed in B2.
It has text-to-speech and audio description of levels.
Wow.
With a focus on accessibility for blind and low vision players. This includes settings to modify text-to-speech volume, rate, and voice.
Nice. Large text
keyboard
too.
And controller support.
Start building.
Level audio description starts automatically on level load, but can be reprompted by the player at any time.
Describing city. A1 is empty, B1 is a rail, C1 is a rail, A2 is a hill, B2 is a mine, C2 is a station, A3 is empty, B3 is empty, C3 is a rail.
The player's movement round
the level. It's a lot to digest.
A2 is a hill.
Okay, there we go.
As are their actions on placing buildings.
A3 is empty. Flats placed in A3.
The player can also prompt inspections of buildings to find out more about them.
A flat's brutalist streets in the sky. Always controversial with neighbors near and far.
I hope there's different voice options.
So if you're interested in a puzzle game about the tensions in a modern city, check out Cellular City's demo on itch.io.
Hi, I'm the developer of Upheaval, a text-based open-world roguelike adventure where you can explore the wilderness,
wait to try this
search
update.
for magic treasures,
I covered this on the channel a while ago.
For 30 in-game days before a powerful magician brings big changes to the world around you. Upheaval is turn-based, with no timed actions and no complex controls. All text is big, easy to read, and high contrast.
That is some really nice
Background
text.
can be disabled, turned to dark mode, or
dark
both.
mode. Woohoo!
Upheaval is completely blind playable without sighted assistance. You can use your favorite screen reader in the command line version.
Abandoned tower, armory, 26 days left, early night, 5/6. The muffled sound of a nightbird can be heard outside. 1. Go up the stairs, no time. 2. Go down the stairs, no time. 3. Open the chest, no time. 4. Search this area, 1 time, random, time searched, 0. 5. Make cam, 2 time.
Yep, that's what I covered before.
Or the customizable text-to-speech in the graphical version.
This wasn't available in the version I tried before.
Stairs lead down to the floor below. Stone windows look out in all directions.
Nice.
It's cold up here. The stone walls are sturdy around you.
I will play the graphical version when the update is out.
No time.
I think it's either coming out now or very soon.
1 time. Success is random. Make camp, 2 time. This is the last option.
Heck yeah, man.
Volume levels can be adjusted separately for music, sound effects, ambient sound, and text-to-speech. Keyboard and controller inputs are both supported, and control remapping will be added before release.
I could kick back in my recliner and play this, man. That's awesome.
Difficulty levels can be adjusted either before or during each game.
Okay.
You can grant more in-game time, conjure items, teleport, use the rewind button planned before release, or any combination of these.
Wow.
You can try the free demo of Upheaval on Steam today. Wishlist Upheaval on Steam to support this project.
Pretty sure I have it wishlisted.
If you have any questions about accessibility, please reach out using my contact info.
We've been in contact on Twitter too. Very cool.
Hi everyone, it's your host Laura here again. I want to take some time today to talk about a game that we wanted to include in this year's Accessibility Summer Showcase, and timings just did not work out for putting together a formal trailer to showcase this game, but I still really think that this game is doing some interesting stuff, and I think it is worth talking about. So I'm going to put together a little tease just to try and tell you a little bit about a game that I wish we could have included more formally here today. Periphery Synthetic is a chill, relaxed, non-violent Metroidvania that takes place in first person and is particularly notable for being designed to be able to be played without any visual input, to be able to be played purely with audio cues.
Oh, really?
Dots form hills and valleys. Text reads, Reactors +1 upgrade available.
You play as someone who has been tasked with surveying a planetary system in an upgradable exosuit, and are able to explore by following all sorts of musical audio cues that are built into the soundscape of the game to collect materials that will allow you to craft and upgrade your movement abilities, while doing this sort of non-linear exploration of a planet.
Player clicks Functions, Synthesis, Systems, Core, Reactors, upgrades to 12.5% velocity.
It is a really unique game, trying some very interesting stuff in terms of how it presents its exploration cues. There is a demo available to play on itch.io if you search for Periphery Synthetic EP. The full game will be coming to Steam in summer of 2024. You can find a link to it on the Steam sale page this year that we have.
We'll be wishlisting that as well.
Included in the Accessibility Summer Showcase.
This is a fascinating visual style too. It's very minimal.
Real frustrated to not be able to have a trailer ready in time for our submission deadline. And I really wanted to still be able to include them, so I've put this together, and hopefully this gives you a sense of this really interesting game that I think is worth checking out.
Trash Goblin is a wholesome and cozy shopkeeping game where you uncover and clean trinkets other people have thrown away, then upcycle them to sell to an endless parade of colourful and quirky customers.
I like the
name. A
name.
very excitable humanoid blue lizard says, "That's it, I die, you darling."
You can then spend your savings to upgrade your shop,
on that
buy new and better tools to unlock more activities, and even expand your business to exciting new districts across town.
In a puzzle, chiseling away a series of colourful squares reveals a 3D shape.
Trash Goblin has always been intentionally designed to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. There are no fail states or time pressures, no skill gates to content, and no fast action.
That is
it's
bad
played
contrast
in first
for that
person with
text.
a limited set of views, and no need to rush anywhere. This gentle pace is at the core of what it means to be a true goblin. We're doing everything we can to help players of all kinds enjoy the tactile, scrunchy, and satisfying mechanics we've built.
A strange metal helmet is being scrubbed with a soapy sponge.
That effort starts with us listening to our community. You asked us to add an option to allow players to sponge trinkets clean without holding a button down, so we did.
Oh, it's like I can do a little power wash simulator.
And you asked for optional auto-chisel features for the chipping gameplay, so we implemented them.
I dig the chisel
Thanks so much to our community for helping us make the game more accessible for everyone. Though a range of ongoing work we've undertaken to ensure you're able to enjoy Trash Goblin to the fullest.
That needs to change.
The mouse is used for every interaction, with optional keyboard shortcuts for navigation, and we're implementing controller support too.
A tutorial explains the player needs to carefully avoid damaging the trinkets during chiseling.
Tutorials use button glyphs
that's
for clarity.
Good contrast on the left there for that
and
text.
The game's
that's
default
good.
font uses
but
a clean and readable sans serif typeface with user-defined sizing. During conversations, the player can skip the text's appearance, and a button press confirms they've read everything.
Okay.
And there are a selection of audio and volume settings to take advantage of, plus text speed settings and more. But of course we want to do even more, so please consider wishlisting the game on Steam, and play the demo there now. Then come and talk to us in our Discord, and suggest even more improvements we can make.
This would be one
Trash Goblin. What kind of goblin
This would
do
be
you
worth
want to
doing
be?
the demo for, because I already have thoughts and feedback.
Hi everyone,
positive
my name is
and
Rebia,
suggestions.
and I'm a disabled and chronically ill content creator from Norway, and also a co-host of the podcast Control Alt Access together with Laura. I'm a white woman in my 30s with dark red hair, wearing a yellow flowy shirt, sitting in my game room. Last year, Whitethorn Games brought us Botany Manor. A game where you play as Arabella, retired botanist living in the 19th century England. In this game, you're working toward finishing a botanical research book, Forgotten Flora, by growing fascinating plants, looking for mysterious clues, and solving cozy puzzles. But not only is this game a wonderful little adventure, it's also accessible for me. From the focus on cognitive accessibility through good information in the options, a well-made journal system, and a bunch of ways to reduce motion sickness, all the way to more motor accessibility with toggle to run and zoom. This game feels like it was made for me. So this is why I'm so happy to see that Whitethorn Games are back this year, and I can't wait to see what they have to show us all.
Okay.
Are you ready to jump into action as a cute slime? Slime Heroes has you covered.
Kind of a...
In this adorable Souls-like 3D action-adventure game, you have a myriad of options available to make the experience more accessible.
A small slime turns its body into a sword to attack enemies.
Enemies and bosses have different damage skills, allowing you to up the challenge or cushion the blows.
A split screen shows the slime fighting a pink ooze monster.
You can also slow the enemy's attack speed, or increase your own stamina recharge.
The slime dashes multiple times in quick succession.
Some of the environment...
You can change your cursor for better contrast and visibility based on your preferences. There is also the ability to toggle on double jump for more control and distance in platforming sections.
Oh, nice.
Timed puzzles can also be made longer so that you can have more time than you normally would to complete sections.
The slime fires bursts of air at distant enemies.
Like, these environments
you can
outline
outline your slime with either black or white to contrast the many colorful environments of the game.
Yeah, like this
for
one,
improved visibility.
That does help, actually, for some of those lighter environments I found harder to see.
Enable visible hitboxes to allow you to see the exact movement of an attack or enemy, enabling you to be sure all of your attacks land as you eliminate even the most challenging corrupted enemies.
So they do negate that some of those things that are harder to see.
Things to come from Slime Heroes.
Huh. I would wishlist that. I would play this.
In Magical Delicacy, you play as Flora, a young witch who's just moved to the harbor town of Grot to grow her magical abilities.
A pixel art young woman pulls vegetables via a timing minigame.
In the game, you make new friends, discover new places, find
Looks
secrets,
like 2D
cook all sorts of delightful foods, and get
side-scrolling
entangled in
adventure
an enchanting
game.
story. To help Flora traverse the city, there's an easy platforming option that disables disappearing platforms that would otherwise require precise timing or quick movements during puzzle or platforming areas.
Gotcha. Okay.
To improve visibility, there are also several high contrast options. You can highlight Flora's outline so she'll always stand out against her background.
Okay.
Additionally, you can darken the background so that the contrast can be even more visible.
I like that. I wish more games would do
Beyond
that.
that,
We've seen a
when
couple
having
of those so
conversations
far.
with the mini characters of Magical Delicacy, there are even more accessibility options.
Okay.
You can disable any moving dialogue effects.
Text to speech. Text to speech.
Autoplay dialogue. And you can change the game's text to a more legible font.
It's a little small for me.
Finally, we've worked to make the control scheme more accessible, allowing you to rebind controls on the keyboard, mouse, or gamepad. And you can play the game without any button holds. We hope you take the time to come and visit the beautiful city of Grot with us in Magical Delicacy later this year.
If it had text-to-speech, it would be a little easier for me.
Hi, I'm Zoe Reyes, the Usability and Accessibility Specialist at Whitethorn Games. I'm a woman with blue hair just past shoulder length, in a light pink t-shirt, and wearing glasses.
Whitethorn Games.
Making your games more accessible is a great goal to have, but sometimes it can feel daunting as an indie dev. To help you get started, I've got a starter kit of some features you can include to help you reach your goals.
Cool. Okay.
One of the easiest ways to get started is to take a look at developer tools or options. A lot of times they can be great accessibility options. Commands that reset the player or give the player increased health or stamina, or more time to defeat a puzzle are all great ways to accommodate players who have reduced reaction time. By looking at the way you use your tools to test the game yourself, you can come up with surprising ways to help your players. Keep contrast in mind. This may sound rather simple, but checking how contrastive the player's view is may make the difference in making the game playable for someone with low vision or color blindness. Double check your inputs. Things like repetitive inputs and button holds can be limiting for the player. Offering alternatives such as eliminating the need for quick button presses or the ability to toggle a sustained button press is always a great idea. And if you can, try including input remapping. Including subtitles is another great way to make your game more inclusive, especially if your game has a lot of spoken dialogue. A lot of times you already have a script ready to go too. You can even go a step further and add subtitles for non-dialogue sounds in your game, such as environmental sounds or sounds that guide hearing players to act. Sometimes game objectives can be unclear. Instances where things are conveyed by color only or sound alone are often very inaccessible. Try conveying information in multiple ways if you can.
I hope those tips help you get started. Keep in mind, this is not an exhaustive list, but the good news is that there are loads of resources online from this amazing community. I recommend checking out the Games Accessibility Guidelines website, the Xbox Accessibility Guidelines, and the IGDA Games Accessibility SIG YouTube. Talking with other developers who are working on features to make their games more accessible is also one of the greatest resources we have. Our greatest strength is sharing the knowledge we gain with each other, because together we can make video games an even more inclusive space for everyone. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Milan Patel, also known as Patel Sir. I am an accessibility consultant and content creator, and I live with a disease called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And I have been gaming pretty much my whole life, and that started getting difficult about 10 years ago. And this was at a time before accessibility was more widely implemented, so I kind of felt like I wasn't going to be able to game again anymore, or any longer in the future as well. But now, since accessibility is more widely implemented, and there are many more tools that you could use now, I am now able to play more games than I was before my physical difficulty started. So accessibility is something that's quite important to me, and it's really great to see that it's being more widely implemented and more people are starting to learn about it.
It is definitely getting better.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin from Manavoid Entertainment, and today we're going to talk about some of the accessibility features in Rainbow Billy: The Curse of the Leviathan. Let's jump right into
heard of this one.
A cartoon child leaps up red leaves in an otherwise grey world, collecting coins and interacting with lone colourful objects.
We've been asked how we made the game accessible for people with color blindness. Luckily, our technical director Alexis is actually colorblind himself, so in a game about recoloring the world of imagination, it was important to get this one right. That's why you'll always see symbols associated with colors. The 12 colors used to represent different emotions have all been given a symbol which is always present throughout the game. Items that you can interact with in the game are always animated and highlighted with color too.
Billy rides a steamboat pumping out rainbow steam, using a grabbing arm to collect underwater items.
We used forced perspectives, which makes it easier to play with a single joystick. The camera also rotates automatically to help with puzzles and secrets. There's a lot to explore in Rainbow Billy, and we didn't want anyone to feel lost. That's why, whenever you board Friendship, the camera will always point to your current objective seamlessly.
Oh,
you can also find your current objective on your compass and map that you can access at any time. There is no time limit or fail state in Rainbow Billy. This is a conscious decision to avoid the pressure of being put on the spot or failing tasks because you didn't react in time, so you can try again as many times as you want. It was important to us that the level of difficulty in confrontations wouldn't affect the experience, so we added a difficulty slider. Lowering the difficulty doesn't change your strategy, it just gives you more leeway for errors by reducing damage taken. There's also a few options to tweak how dialogue is displayed. We've made dialogue fun to read with a lot of animations and effects. However, we know this can make the text harder to read for some people, so we've implemented the Open Dyslexic font, a dyslexia-friendly option to make it easier to read.
Not too bad.
You can also change the speed at which dialogue is displayed, and also change the character voices if you prefer more retro sounds, or none at all.
Billy is seen returning colour to the world by placing a pink orb in a volcano.
Rainbow Billy: The Curse of the Leviathan has so much more to offer. If you'd like to give it a try, head over to our Steam page and get ready to recolor the world. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.
I don't think you mentioned text size.
The Curse of the Leviathan.
But Yeah, again, there's a lot of text in these indie games, and not all of them have
Hi everyone,
narration.
Quick update here from Laura. The folks behind Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan, have actually given us some Steam codes for the game to give away during today's Accessibility Summer Showcase.
Oh.
If you would like to be entered into a random draw to win one of 5 copies of Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan, you can head over to @WeAreManavoid on Twitter and find the competition tweet. 5 people will win Steam codes for the game by responding to the tweet up on Manavoid's Twitter.
Okay.
You can enter between now and Sunday, June 9th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so you have about 2 days to respond to their tweet to get put in for a random drawing to maybe win a copy of Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan. Enjoy, fingers crossed that you win. Let's get back to more games.
Okay, let's do that indeed.
Welcome to Spaceboat, a narrative adventure filled with colorful worlds and wacky characters. Play as Inspector Domino, an undercover space cat detective, and track down an intergalactic jewel thief. Hi, my name is Luis Alonso, and I'm the game developer for Spaceboat.
A cruise ship sails through space, introducing wacky aliens such as the Pink Cowboy Blob pre-order.
Yeah, there's some
Spaceboat is a narrative adventure that is meant to be enjoyed by all.
Crazy-looking aliens.
Give it as many accessibility options as possible. What most people don't know is that I'm also a triple amputee, and one of the few disabled solo game devs that are out there.
Oh wow,
I take accessibility seriously. Last year, we mentioned the work that was done to have a high contrast art direction for people with colorblindness, as well as having text for everything that was spoken or heard for people with hearing impairments.
Okay.
This year, we added a number of additional features.
Cool.
Spaceboat now has an options menu accessible at all times from within seconds of starting the game. We recently added single stick controls to reduce the need for multiple inputs. Although other buttons might be needed, this makes the majority of the game playable with one hand.
The main character walks a promenade populated with Muppet-style aliens with fabric-like appearances.
I don't even know how to describe the art
style. We added an auto-run
style.
feature, which reduces the number of buttons that need to be pressed. Additionally, we added input sensitivity controls so that all players can fine-tune the game to their liking. Although we mentioned that we put a lot of work into providing a high contrast art direction, we felt it was a good idea to include colorblind shader modes. We know it's not a well-loved feature, but if it helps someone in the slightest, it's there. On Steam, we also added the ability to switch controls on demand. This means that if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard, you can switch to an Xbox controller at any time.
That's actually really helpful.
I know it's handy to have as many inputs available to adjust to gameplay changes.
I've used that in several games,
Fireworks
going
Andy
back
is
and
on the
forth.
promenade, highlighted by glowing arrows and a light-up question mark.
Please note that these features are currently available in our demo, which can be found on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. If you think that Spaceboat could benefit from further improvement, please contact us.
There are some gnarly characters in this game.
Recombobulator.ca. Thank you from everyone at Recombobulator Games.
That's a great name, too. Recombobulator
We at Paint Bucket Games believe that everyone should have the opportunity to enjoy the games we create, regardless of ability. We are currently developing The Darkest Files, a historical investigation and courtroom game based on true crimes.
The player explores noir comic-inspired crime scenes and courtrooms in first person. The young female prosecutor searches through documents and clashes with a male judge who doesn't take her evidence seriously.
Huh. Yeah, this looks... like, it looks cool, but it looks like a game that I would never play.
We want our games to be inclusive and welcoming to all players, which is why we've implemented several accessibility features.
Due to the visuals.
For one, players can choose their own difficulty and even customize it further to match their needs.
Okay.
The player chooses between Story Mode, Investigator Mode, and Custom. Difficulty tweaking options include whether you just need to select the correct documents to prove your point in court, or whether you need to be more specific about what the document proves.
The Darkest Files also features mouse-only gameplay. This allows players to play the game just by clicking with one hand, making it accessible to those who use adaptive controllers as well.
The player explores a house at night in first person, looking for evidence, as interactable elements are highlighted.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
In addition to mouse-only gameplay, we've also made it easy for players to switch seamlessly between input devices, such as keyboard, mouse, or controller.
Other difficulty options include a smaller selection of possible clue documents, or the ability to avoid the need to have a conclusion prepared in advance of trial.
I'm wondering if the documents are going to be able to be read aloud.
Their sensitivity can
That's
be
what I
adjusted
need
as
in this
well.
game.
The player can tweak sensitivity, as well as activate extended one-handed mode, and a radial menu for one-handed mode.
Okay.
Since players work with documents while investigating, we are also very mindful of the readability of our fonts and texts, and always offer a transcription.
A police report details a murder.
Oh, I
a
like
body
that
was found in the woods,
that overlay.
killed by a close-range gunshot to the head. 4
That's
suspects
nice
all
text
claim the
size.
victim had committed treason, and therefore his killing would not constitute murder.
Yeah, that overlay right there, that's really good.
For dialogues, there are real-time subtitles available.
Fritz Brauer says, "And be mindful of the time. We do not have nearly enough of it here."
While developing, we are in contact with testers with impairments and want to continue to learn about accessibility.
I would love to see
Hi everyone,
audio
Laura
navigation and text to speech
Thank you so
for
much
that
for
game.
tuning
That
into
looks
this
really
year's
cool.
AccessAbility Summer Showcase. As a reminder, we have a Steam sale page for this year's Summer Showcase,
And I
so
will
you
be
can
heading
find most
there
of this
soon.
year's games all in one place on Steam if any of them caught your interest. We've got one final trailer for you before we wrap up.
Okay.
But before that, I want to make a quick announcement. The AccessAbility Summer Showcase is a bit of a passion project for me, and it's something that I find a lot of joy in producing. As such, I'd like to try expanding it just a little. In December of 2024, I'm going to attempt to publish the AccessAbility Winter Showcase. It'll be just like the Summer Showcase, just happening at the other end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The hope is that we can provide a spotlight for accessible video games whose announcement windows might not line up well with our usual summer event. If you're a developer who would be interested in featuring in the AccessAbility Winter Showcase, email laurakbuzzofficial@gmail.com and we can discuss specifics. More official information
That's
will be made
great.
available in the coming weeks. There's no guarantee that the AccessAbility Winter Showcase will return in future years, but I'd like to give it a go and see if it's something that I can publish sustainably. Thank you all again for watching.
Okay.
Please enjoy our last trailer, and I hope you have an accessible day.
What is it going to be? Let's be something really
Hey
awesome.
everyone, I'm Darren, the developer of Dawnfolk, a miniature survival city builder about bringing light back to the world. I designed Dawnfolk to be the perfect entryway into the city builder strategy game genre.
Small pixel art squares pop up showing a simplified rural community. New squares are built via timing minigames. A cartoon flame named Lure guides the player, congratulating their bountiful harvest.
It's a simple game without complex menus to navigate or endless tutorials. A unique element of Dawnfolk is that you can collect resources by playing small, exciting minigames. But one day, a player contacted me and told me he could not enjoy the game because those minigames required too much button mashing and dexterity. That made me so sad that I quickly updated the demo within the hour with a button to disable the minigames. He was very grateful, and watching him play afterwards really motivated me to add more accessibility features.
Cool.
Unlike
okay.
most strategy games, Dawnfolk is completely playable with any controller you like. You can also activate haptic feedback to better understand what's happening in the game. Dawnfolk is also a narrative game where you can reshape the story.
Good
The
text.
is
Look at
big,
that. Look
but
at the
you can change
contrast
that
in the
8-bit
text
pixel
size.
font to a more readable one.
That's
Lure
good.
the Flame says, "So, to sum it up, darkness invaded your realm and you woke me up to help you restore it. I'll help, but I'll need yours in return later, alright?"
You can also open the journal to read previous dialogue entries in case you need a little reminder. There are only a few key information on the screen at any time, and everything is big enough to make sure you can easily read it. The game uses signs, shapes, and high contrast colors, so you can play it whatever type of color blindness you might have. You can also activate a narrator that's gonna read everything for you.
Oh, hell yeah.
Meadow, forest, plain, tents, wheat field. Awesome, the wheat field produces food every day.
There are tons of audio
narration,
cues,
hell
but you
yeah.
can also perfectly play the game without any sound. Dawnfolk plays in real time, however no worries, you can pause time whenever you want.
Okay.
The game can be played with different levels of difficulty, and you can save anytime, so don't worry about making a mistake. If you're stuck, Lure will always come back to you with some advice. There's no jump scares in the game, but you do have a few screen shakes and flashes that you can disable.
Okay.
The game is still in development, and I'll be sure to add more accessibility features in the future.
Dawnfolk demo available on Steam. A game by Darren Keller, Astrological.
Play the demo on Steam, and let me know what you think. Have fun!
Oh boy,
if you're watching on Twitch,
lots of games to look at.
Stay tuned for a live stream showcasing demos for Fishbowl, Dawnfolk, Magical Delicacy, Cellular City, Periphery Synthetic, and Trash Goblin.
So we are going to stop there.
Oh, weapon.
We are going to minimize there, and we'll wrap it up here. But overall thoughts, I think it was a great event. A lot of different games showcased. Pretty much a lot of indie games. Really didn't get to see AAA. I guess they want to save their hoorah for their big, your Ubisoft or your Xbox or your Sony events. It would be kind of interesting to see some sort of even if they're covered at some of those larger showcases or events that let's be a part of this accessibility showcase. That would be cool in the future. But a lot of variety this year. There were some isometric games. We have a city builder. We have a platformer. Like the first game I thought was really cool. I don't remember the names of these, but the one, my original, I was looking at it going, oh, this is fast paced. There's a lot of visual chaos happening on the screen right now. And I'm going, ooh, this does not look low vision friendly. But then he started talking about dimming the backgrounds and character highlights and game speed and all those different types of things, kind of like Eagle Island had. And so that game, I don't know, it might actually just be playable. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. That city builder looked kind of interesting. I'm pretty intrigued about that. Cellular City, that looks pretty cool. Those visual novel games, I can't remember what they're called. There was the two arcade ones and then the one that he demoed. I either forgot or didn't know or something, but I will, for the one that he demoed, I will absolutely have to try that one. And then I have to double check to make sure if those arcade, I think it was Arcade Spirits 1 and 2, if they also have the same level of menu narration, I will absolutely be down for trying that out. Because again, those are games that anything with a lot of reading, that's where I really have trouble because, even with larger text, I read rather slowly and it just gets tedious, especially if there's a lot of text. Now, there are some things that can sort of help mitigate that, especially if I play with a controller. As I've demoed the Be My Eyes Windows app, or I could use NVDA OCR. I could use either one of those tools to help me get through some of those walls of text, but again, you're having to do it every single time. So, if Be My Eyes or whatever application supports some sort of a live mode where I can just say, hey, whenever you see new text appear on the screen, just read it. That is going to open up so many more games for me because I know for a totally blind player, especially if there are navigation elements where you have to walk around an environment, that may not solve that problem. But there also could be, again, there may be a thing where you could say, if it recognizes, oh, this is an overhead 2D game, like a Link to the Past or something, or a Stardew Valley, you could kind of be like, hey, I'm walking around, let me know whenever I bump into a wall, and if you don't get enough sound effects, or who knows what kind of things you'll be able to do. But like I said, I'm trying to think. So those adventure games or those visual novels, those look good. The Upheaval, I played the text only demo of that a while back on the channel. I've been talking to that developer on Twitter, and it's very cool to see that now the graphical version supports not only text to speech but actually customizable. So he sped it up a lot. The text is clear and good contrast. So I can again, as a low vision user, I can enjoy the visuals and have my text to speech. So I will absolutely be returning to that game, covering the updated version of that when it is out. Let's see what else. Trying to think what other, like I said, there was a few other games. I mean, there was a couple of platformers, like a couple of 3D looking games. I don't think those are necessarily going to be blind accessible, but they actually look pretty low vision friendly. That slime one, some of the environments were pretty good, but some of them, the bright colors and the light colored characters didn't contrast super well. But then he talked about some of the outlines and other ways to kind of accent those types of contrasts. So that one I'm kind of curious of checking out. That looked fun. There, like I said, there was a few other ones that had, like, there was some side-scrolling ones, and there was some, I think, 3D ones where, like, there was just a lot of text dialogue and bubbles. There was that one game I commented that, like, oh, the tutorials are good, but the actual dialogue text was very low contrast. Oh, that was the one where you were doing she mentioned it right at the end too, for the stream. Trash Goblins. Like, that game actually looks kind of interesting, but I do have some visual reservations about that game. But yeah, so there was a few that there was a lot of text dialogue and just a lot of text UI and things like that, if they don't support menu narration, I don't know that I would necessarily have the patience to play. But that last game, again, the kind of minimal menus, the graphics were pretty high contrast. And then he mentioned that, oh yeah, by the way, it's going to have narration, and it read the text dialogue, it read the menus, and also the dialogue boxes had great contrast and nice large text. So that one looked pretty good too. And I'm really curious about that first-person Metroidvania that she had covered. Again, the visuals on that were so abstract that I find it hard to describe exactly what it actually was. But it was kind of like this reddish, like, background, and then, like, there was these weird patterns on the ground, and there were these, like, you were walking around on first person, and you had these, like, hills, and some are little mounds, and some are really tall, and you're, like, kind of floating up them, and you can jump, and it was just a weird thing. So I don't know, like, if it's meant to be you can play it visually or audibly, or if there's just visuals that are just abstract and you're meant to play it audio exclusively. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued about it. And I know, because I've seen other sort of accessibility announcements in the past and showcases, one of the complaints I know that we're going to hear is that, oh, it's a lot of these cozy games and, relaxing games and stuff like that. And people want, especially blind audiences, they want more action-y things. They want maybe faster paced games. They want racing games. They want, like, a coworker of mine really wants an accessible flight sim. And I know that the Microsoft Flight Simulator has some accessibility in it, but I don't know to what degree. That game just kind of, file size wise, it's ginormous, and just how detailed you can get with the flight sim just kind of scares me, and so I just really haven't had the urge to try that game yet, because, I mean, it's sort of neat, but it's not a genre that I think I would really come back to that much. But I said a lot of blind players want their, fast-paced platformers or first-person shooters, or, even third-person action games. Your Gears of War, your Spider-Mans, your Marvel games, your whatever. And hopefully those are coming too. And because, yeah, I mean, I would love for those games to be more accessible themselves. Like, I really want, like, the Indiana Jones game. I really want the Star Wars Outlaws games. I would really want Avowed to have more accessibility features in them. Whatever id's gonna do next, like all those types of action, because that's my jam. Like, come on, man, I cover retro first-person shooters galore. But I play all kinds of things, third person, first person. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoy a lot of these more chill games, more some can call them wholesome games or whatever. But like, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially with the world as craptacular as it is, with all the drama and stupid politics and divisions and crime and murders and, closures and people getting screwed over constantly. Yeah, it's nice to have some positivity every once in a while to kind of dive into, especially in a video game. A huge shout out to everybody I saw that I recognized. Sightless doing the commentary or the audio description, and he was in one of the clips. Chad, been on his podcast, so that a couple times. That was fun. I can identify with, like I said, if I, like, even with the vision that I have, if I lost all of my vision and lost the ability to play the games that I do enjoy as a low vision user, yeah, I would absolutely be crushed. I mean, I know that there are games that I could return to and devote more time to if I went totally blind. But my Steam library is huge, and the vast majority of them are games I play visually. Not to mention any other console platform that I have. So I get it. Like, not being able to do that anymore when it was one of your hobbies and, ways to have you cope, and I totally get that. I mean, I remember a few years ago when I had something really crazy happen to me, and I really kind of, a little chill game, Abzu helped me get through it. So yeah, anyway, guys, that's where we are going to wrap it up. That is the Accessibility Showcase. It's really cool to see that we might get another one in the winter, and I hope it is successful, and that I hope she's able to continue, because, man, we're going to have 2 game accessibility conferences per year, a spring and a fall one, European and North American, and then we're going to possibly have 2 accessibility showcases. We're going to have the Game Accessibility Awards. I mean, I know people would love for game accessibility to catch on even faster. Totally. I get it. I agree with you. But think about where we were, like, even 5-10 years ago. 2015, accessibility was barely even a consideration. And then in like 2017, 2018-ish or so, we started having some indie games leading the way, and got a lot of deserved recognition. And then, of course, you had The Last of Us in 2020, The Last of Us Part 2, that really broke the doors open. It's like, hey, man, if we can, I mean, granted, I know this, they have all the money in the world because they're huge and whatever, but, like, they proved that a huge AAA game can be made accessible, blind accessible at that. And we have, Mortal Kombat, we have Forza, that is so cool, and a handful of other AAA games. So I'm very curious to see what else is going to happen. And with that, like I said, I don't know how many other videos I'm going to do. I'm not going to stream the Summer Game Fest. I'm not going to do a video. I'm not going to do like a live watch along like we did here. Nor for Zimbratsky's first-person shooter showcase, because that's, again, that's going to be long. But I will write things down and I will come back and cover my thoughts on those. The Microsoft event, the Ubisoft event, we've got Apple. There's a few other things coming, so who knows? I would say at least one or two other videos. So anyway, I had to do this one. I had to watch this live and record it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will put a link in the description to the original video if you want to watch it without my babble over it. I will put a link to the audio described version that we just watched in the description. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more thoughts. And stay tuned for more cool stuff because I just recorded. God, it sucks because I don't know when I'm gonna. I want to release it soon, but with all the other gaming content this weekend, I don't know, man. You're probably gonna get a lot of bonus videos or something because there's another video. Let's just say a hardware review that a lot of you are probably going to be interested in, and I'm going to be releasing that here hopefully in the near future. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel because there's a lot of good stuff coming. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited. illegally-cited.com, and of course right here on YouTube. And until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.